Hi everyone, I'm Samantha Wood. I'm a fiction author. So I usually talk about a book after I've read it, but I recently went to the Sorrento Writers Festival and I wanted to talk about one of the books from there. It was a great lineup. It was Malcolm Knox, Emily Maguire and Jane Yang. And this is Jane's book, The Lotus Shoes. Beautiful cover. Some of you may have already heard about this one. Jane has written a book about Little Flower, who is sold as a handmaiden into Lin Jing, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, into Lin Jing's wealthy family. And it's a really, I haven't read much, but so far, and from what Jane has spoken of, it's a really complex story about power and family dynamics and jealousy and rivalry and, all the fun stuff. And it also touches on some really interesting cultural aspects. She talks about foot binding and how, obviously from a modern Western perspective, we see that as something quite barbaric, but back then it was something that was done out of love, and how it was done, from the mother's perspective, certainly as, the utmost act of love, which I found fascinating. And Jane spoke quite in depth about that at the panel, and she also spoke about embroidery as well and the importance of that in the culture of the time. So a lot of really complex, nuanced issues that were brought up in the book. So I can't wait to dive in. But it did remind me because Little Flower, she's got bound feet and she's a mistress, or I don't know what the word is, of embroidery. And Lin Jing becomes quite jealous of that. There are these rivalries at play there, but also the cultural aspects that are involved. But it did remind me of a story of many, many years ago, a friend, 5'11", who was sitting in Tiananmen Square in her Blundstones, and she attracted an audience of Chinese children who'd come over to laugh and point at her giant feet. So that was something that, this discussion did bring up in my mind. Anyway, so it's this one here, The Lotus Shoes by Jane Yang, and I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I'll get back to you after I'm done. Thanks for watching.